Hi friends, welcome back to Divine Mom Chats. It's Elise here. Today's video is going to be about my life before pregnancy, before becoming a mom. So let's just get straight into it. Um, about 3 years ago, before I became a mom, I was literally fresh, like 20 years old. I worked as a CNA, so I worked in this facility helping the elderly people. Really loved it. It was a decent money making job. I worked a lot basically every day, like 4 days on, 2 days off. So um my off days weren't always the same. So if I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was off Friday, Saturday, and then I worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday. That's how that schedule looked like, which wasn't too bad, but it's not something I would prefer as a CNA. But that's just what I had to do, and it wasn't a bad job, but I worked long shifts. My favorite shifts were usually the 3 to 11. That way in the morning time, I always switched it up. Like if I got tired of doing the 3 to 11 or the 3 to 10 shift, I would switch it to the morning shift, which is 7 to 3. That way I can have the evening to myself. I would just switch it. Sometimes I would work doubles because I'm like, if I don't have anything else planned or going on, I would work doubles. I was making that money, guys. I was making that money. I was working hard, okay? But I also loved what I did. I loved taking care of people. I loved being there for them when no one else was, even if like most of the time they didn't even have family, or if they did, they never came, or would sometimes only come on the holidays and not even that, which was very sad, and it made me feel very grateful that at least I have family, even though sometimes we wouldn't always like celebrate or do a holiday. At least we had each other, and that made me super grateful in that aspect. But yeah, I worked a lot, between 30 to 40 hours. Also, going to the gym. I would go to the gym once or twice during the week. I would also try and schedule like, rest days so my body can recover, so my muscles can, recover and just relax and, just feel I needed that recovery. Life before I found out I was pregnant was so different. I mainly worked a lot leading up to me finding out I was pregnant. I worked a lot. I went to the gym a lot. My body was ripped. I'll insert a picture, hopefully here. Yeah, body was tea. Um, yeah, I would prioritize my health a lot. I would bulk, cut bulk. I mainly bulked a lot just so I can, turn all that fat into muscle, which I really liked doing. In my free time, I would just shop. Um, I don't recall if I had any friends at the time because I was also going through like, you know, finding myself, and also I was in my walk with the Lord, and everything changed for me when I really dedicated and proclaimed like Jesus, over my life. And like I would suggest that everyone and their mama would do that. Like, don't just talk about it, like, be about it. You know what I mean? And yes, it's hard to do that, but it's not that hard. I think people are just lazy and make up excuses. And, me too. So I'm not trying to shame or judge because I did the same. But yeah, so I was walking, you know, on my walk with Christ, worked a lot. Um, was in the gym a lot because I was just going through a lot. Literally, I've been through so much. You would look at me and you would think, oh, she's a pretty cute girl. Like she ain't never been through nothing, no trauma, no nothing. Okay, but everyone has their own story, so which I will share mine, maybe in another video or here and there. But I would also like to keep just some things to myself because it doesn't need to be everyone's business. Before being a mom mm, was content. I was also drained from my work, like from my job. It was very draining and very hard on me sometimes. Like not even on my body, but mentally and emotionally for these people. Um, and also like being a CNA is hard. It's so difficult. It feels like you're going back into high school. I don't care. At every facility, I felt like I was back in high school. Everyone always looked at me different. Everyone always looked at me weird. And I did a good job. I did my job the way I was supposed to. I took care of those people, the way I was trained to, the way I literally learned and like did my course for. And yeah, out of all of my facilities I've been to, I left. I quit all of them because they are not gonna treat me. No one is gonna treat me like I don't know what I'm doing as a CNA, as a certified CNA. Hello, because I don't do that to other people. I may give them little tips and tricks to like do things faster or do things a little bit better, but I'm never gonna be like, you're not good at your job, you don't do this right. I don't put people down on how to do their job because we're all taught, teached, learned a different way from each other. But I really loved that job a lot. Just chaotic, going through a lot, mentally, physically, emotionally drained. And I felt like I was losing my purpose the month leading up to me finding out I was pregnant. I was drained. I was telling my mom, like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. Like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I don't want to do this forever. Like, I will always love taking care of someone, but I don't want to do this forever. I don't want to keep making the same money forever. I want to grow. I want to build. I want to like make money. So I was like, okay, like you just need to figure out what you want to do. And then I got into a phlebotomy course, and I think it was like a few days before I was supposed to start the class. I was supposed to also get my menstrual cycle, and I was already like 6 days late. And of course, back then my periods were irregular, so that was like my normal. Like for me, missing my period a few days or a week, or sometimes not even having it at all, which I know is very bad, but it was just normal because it was just you know inconsistent. I was having inconsistent periods, but during that time, this was before I was with my partner, like us being together. Um, but yeah, before that, always like that. Even like when I got with him, because keep in mind, we were long distance. So like leading up to when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, I can't be pregnant. And then I was telling him like, hey, like, my friends are saying I might be pregnant, so heads up, I'm gonna be getting like a pregnancy test or taking a pregnancy test. The clip here.
I took the test.
Back and I got the pregnancy test. I came with two. So I think I actually took four pregnancy tests. But that's how much I was in denial. Like I was already having symptoms prior before I took my pregnancy test. But I thought, hey, like this is my period coming, or maybe I'm getting sick, or maybe it's my allergies, because I would always get sick or allergies around the time that I found out I was pregnant. And then after I found out I was pregnant, I was like, oh, like, okay, all my symptoms are making so much sense to me now. Let me tell you, the first trimester, people say that is so bad, this and that. To each their own. Also, to each their own. Like, not everyone's first or second or third trimester is going to be like rainbows and sunshine. Mine was okay. Out of 10, my first trimester, I give it like a 5 or 6. It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't great. Um, Second trimester, breezy. Going into my third, that's where it kind of got a little bumpy, like because you start to get you're a little bit bigger, everything's getting more swollen, your belly's starting to drop. Yeah, I found out I was pregnant, and then my life really changed a lot once I found out I was pregnant because I was like, I'm gonna have to move out, I'm gonna have to start getting baby stuff, and I had just quit my CNA job and was going into that phlebotomy class. So I was in that phlebotomy class for a month, and yeah, well, phlebotomy. I mean, I got my license or certificate or whatever you want to call it, and I applied to so many places. I never heard back from literally any of the places. Like, they said that applying and finding jobs was gonna be hard, but I didn't think it was gonna be that hard. I didn't think it was gonna be as hard, like as the instructor was telling us. Like, I was prepared, but I wasn't like prepared, like, oh my gosh, like no one's calling me back. I'm calling people back, calling the people where I applied, hearing that things like, oh, like we went with someone else because you don't have experience. But it's like that's the whole point. Like, I'm applying so you guys can, help me gain more experience since I'm a newbie. But that wasn't the case. So I started applying at daycares, trying to be a nanny, babysitting, trying to work at a school, being an assistant teacher. Because I also wanted to get myself used to being around children again. I've been working with elderly folks for, I think it was like 2 or 3 years that I was just around elderly people. I'm like, I need to get used to and be comfortable around newborns to like 5-year-olds, 4-year-olds. So I'm applying here, I'm applying there, I'm applying there, and they're like, okay, during some of like the interviews, they're like, once you give birth, what's that gonna look like? What's gonna happen then? It's like, I don't know. I'm not thinking that far ahead because I need a job now. I'm more concerned and worried about, where my money's gonna be coming from, how I'm gonna be getting money, where I'm gonna be working now, try to help myself, and pay for my own things. I'm not worried about after I have a baby that I'm not even gonna have until like 4 or 5 months later. You know what I mean? So a lot of the places didn't want to hire me because I was pregnant, because they knew it wasn't gonna be something long term, I guess. And because I didn't have a plan on what I was gonna do after birth. And it's like, I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about my like what's happening right now, not later after I have birth. I'm worried about what is going on before I have birth. So for all my people out there, whoever may come across this video or watch this little clip, please, please, please be kind to pregnant women. Like, they go through so much. They are going through so much. Not hurt you, does not kill you, to spread and show kindness and love to pregnant women, or just women in general. But I know mainly to pregnant women because I know for me, like, I was not treated how I should have been treated, going out looking for a job just because I was pregnant. But yeah, I settled for a daycare job. Daycare. It was actually a school, but it was more so a daycare because we didn't teach them anything. But I stayed there for 4 or 5 months up until a month before. I gave birth because they kept leaving me alone with some bad kids, and I'm like, I'm too pregnant for this. There's certain ratios. Like usually there's supposed to be two teachers if there's like 10 or more kids. And I always had 10 or more kids with me, and I'm over here by myself when there's supposed to be another person or another teacher with me. I was getting fed up with that, and also you have to type in the portal when you have to use the bathroom, especially if you're by yourself, so someone else can come and sit and watch the kids, usually when they're napping. Um, and also, of course, like when it's playtime and doing stuff like that. I always had to use the bathroom, like, hello, I'm pregnant. At least I was not going every 10 to 20 or 30 minutes. Probably going, I was drinking water a lot every 30 to like an hour. Um, but yeah, and one time I had to hold my pee. I don't know for how long, and I was like, I'm not doing this no more. And then also during that time, I think my belly was slowly starting to drop, and I was just like dragging my feet, like, oh my gosh, like back hurts, stomach hurts, like just from the weight and pressure. Feet were killing me. Everything was just like, you're done. You need to sit down and don't work no more. So I quit. I wanted to go on leave, but they didn't do paid leaves. They're just like, oh, like, if you want to leave and come back, let us know. And I was like, okay, I really appreciate it. And so I just told them, like, hey, I don't know when or if I will ever come back, but will definitely let you guys know because I did get along with a lot of my students, I like to call them because they called me the teacher, an assistant teacher, or like basically I was a teacher, but not really. Um, but the class I had were, I think, 3 to 5 or 3 to 4 years old, so it was a good class. Um, but yeah, and then going into like my maternity leave, I stayed at my place a lot, and then I would come to my parents a lot. Most of the time I would just stay with my parents for a week or two or like the weekend because it's just like, okay, I'm getting too big now. Like, I can't be driving my car. Um, so stayed at my parents' house, I want to say a few weeks before I went to give birth, and then I went back to my place, and my partner was here, so like he was just taking care of me. We went on walks, I did curb walking, I did a whole bunch of stuff to try and induce myself to get this boy out because I was ready. I was tired. Um, but I had an induction date set. I want to say when I was between 7 and 8 months pregnant because I was like, I don't want to push out an 8 pound baby. Yeah, that's a little story about my life, what it looked like, before, I became a mom and everything leading up to me becoming a mom. Um, I think my next video will be about my birth story, like labor and delivery, like birth story type video. I think that'll be very interesting because I feel like I remember certain things and other things I'm like, did that happen? Did this happen? Like, it's kind of hazy, but also some parts of it is so clear, like it was yesterday. So I think my next video will be about my labor and delivery. But yeah, if you stayed this long, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying tuned. Please subscribe, share, like, comment, do all the things, and also follow my Instagram. It's the same as this, Divine Mom Chats. I will have a few new posts coming, and I do want to um get into making, I guess these are like podcast videos. It's a little bit. Um, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.